wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. Of Ukraine.
Wars have been fought over oil. In a short matter of time, they will be fought over wars.
Well, we're back. New places, new faces. Not really. I mean, kind of. I shaved.
Yeah.
Twice.
Put my hair
like a Highland cattle. You know,
sheared like a fine Highland show cow.
That's right. Absolutely. Episode 31.
Yeah,
we've crossed the hump of episode 30. That sweet, beautiful Chicago hump.
Yeah,
and now we're here. You know, back.
It does feel like it's like a new again type of thing.
Yeah, no, it feels different. You know, and a new location, ever closer to our field team in Quantico. You know? And
yeah, it's good when they renovated.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of acres of space out there now. You know,
yeah,
room for so many different activities.
For the German Shepherds to run around, you know,
they're so cute. You know, when they're young, little puppies.
Yeah,
they don't know. They don't realize they're going to be a tool of the state. It's beautiful. Lucid Fox here on, well, and also there and everywhere, Twitch, Twitter, all the stuff.
Marcus is from struggle_4 on Twitch, YouTube, struggle4 media on the Instagrams.
Yeah, wow.
Which, yeah.
How you feeling about Instagram? Do you like it so far?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love, you know, when I'm told to share the reel, you know.
Yeah, you're really into those stories.
Really into the stories.
Yeah.
Is it the stories?
Stories, the Insta stories. People love them. They want to keep up to date with what you're doing. You know,
love it.
Every now and then, what's your one? I can coach you through these. So every now and then, you're just going to put some text like, "Had fun day, great lunch, show pictures later," and then set that to like a nice, you know, background music, whatever you want. Harry Styles, Watermelon Sugar, something like that.
Yeah.
And you just do that like 3 or 4 times every hour. It's really going to engage people.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I just never share the picture. They're just kind of edging them along throughout the whole process of never actually showing what I had for dinner.
You want that Kim Kardashian weight loss tummy pops, and you're going to want to boost your presence.
Well, yeah, I do keep hearing about how some of these weight loss drugs are going to make the economy better or something like that. So,
spend less money on, you know, basic essential food, then you got more money in your pocket. That's basic economics.
I mean, how do you solve for inflation?
Yeah.
Zempi.
Little Zempi, baby.
Yeah,
I did see, I think this is just within semaglutides in general, but they were talking about its anti-aging properties as well the other day. Like, hey,
so people, that's how it's affecting the economy. Yeah, people can work longer.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You get a little bit of everything from that Zempi, you know?
I mean, what do American people want more than like the retirement age to be at 85, just like Joe Biden? He set the example.
Yeah. I went to go, I didn't get it because there's a whole story here. But I went to go get my COVID shot. And when I got in there, the pharmacist was talking to somebody on the phone. He was like, "Oh, yeah, well, if you want to do the Ozempic, I'd probably say like 3 months. Now it's going to be about $1,100 a month for just the shot." And I was like, you know?
Yeah.
And because if I remember correctly, it's about 160, 170 for a ball downtown. Like it's not.
Like I'm gonna do it.
If you're gonna get in there, I mean, boring shot or
exactly.
full mirror. Like I know what I'm picking. But yeah, I was listening to that, and I was like, Jesus Christ! And I was like, well, thank goodness the COVID shot isn't that much. And he was like, well, it's like what? Like, well, actually, it's 200. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
I'll be back. With the COVID, you only need one of those.
Yeah. Well, kind of. Okay. So I looked into a little bit of it, like the new COVID shot, like the variants and everything. They say the efficacy of the boosters is really like only 3 months, like 6 months, like for a, just kind of drop off. They say like, because I asked him, I was like, so when should I get it? And he was like, well, you should probably get it in like October, if you're worried about it and not going to get another one during the season, because that way it covers you for like December, January. And I was like, man, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. So get one next month.
So, I mean, are this going to be like a 2 times a year?
I don't know, man. Depending on
the future, and
Marcus. I mean, first of all, I guess we have to start back here. Kamala Harris is running for president, Marcus, and I don't know if you know this, but she is a Democrat, someone that takes public health very seriously. Okay, and that's why, like, it shouldn't really be a problem. All right, she's going to institute like masking during like high spread spike times. She's going to be, like, instituting social distancing again in public spaces, like, because we believe in science.
Real quick question, because over the past few years, the country, especially on like the national federal government level, it seems to kind of just like ignoring what's been going on.
It feels like that, Marcus,
COVID.
But
they're the same part.
No, there's a very, kind, caring part of the government that maybe you don't get to see as much. That really is, and that's why they don't pay for the vaccines anymore, because
they care.
Yeah, that's right.
The moral.
Yeah.
Well,
because Biden said that he wants to pay for them. He just.
You instituting a moral failure, though, right? If you just give people something, then they don't know the value of it. And so they need to work for it so they know how important it is.
Yeah.
Right? Because the people who are working and even like creating these things, you
get to take part in Biden's strong economy, right? And
they do.
You get to feel good that you paid, for your COVID vaccine
profits.
Yeah. Because if you're making $12 an hour at the McDonald's, then for only 20 hours, you can afford to get a COVID vaccine and then stay safe from the illness that may or may
get
not.
Back to work.
Yeah.
And enjoy the economy.
Yeah. So
I see.
Yeah. You got it.
Because they care.
Yeah. So
about us.
Yeah, it's good. So anyway, speaking of that Kamala Harris interview, I was thinking of this not as a segue as well, but also there's so much in there, and you may think to yourself, Lucid was only 26 minutes, but man, what a 26 minutes it was. Some of my favorite things were we're going to extend the child tax credit as if it still existed. Did enjoy that a lot.
Yeah.
Because the word would be reinstitute, I guess, which I would think would be a better selling point. If you're like, we're going to reinstitute the thing that you used to love.
Yeah. And and this is where literally they are, and this happened like the last tax season where some of the stuff was like hammered out very, very late.
Yeah.
Where they just reverted back to the old where, hey, that's where it's like you writing off your dependents and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's, what I'm saying, like, that's where, like, this, where you can get, hey, like the taxes off, and there's a whole bunch of other shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's where it's like with this where people loved it because it increased the tax credit, and then also instituted on that per month payment, and that's what they let just go away.
That's so their kids had more food, which I think a lot of people see as controversial. I think it's a good thing if kids have more food.
50% of childhood poverty alleviated, like seemingly overnight.
Kind of weird,
Yeah, you just can't have that. That shit sucks, actually. And and like when they go out here, and this is where the Democrats who care so much, right? Mm-hmm. These are the types of things that they're, they need to start having a more coherent from the top down, and all of the Senate and House races, like there needs to be this type of party coherency on these types of issues. But that's the thing, is that like they really just relegate down to the work of saying some of these things. And, it would have just meant a whole lot more of, when they had control of the Senate and the House, they would have just kind of made that thing last a little bit longer, Joe Manchin.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think about those things and I'm like, man, we really did have a chance for something special, but instead, and now, like with paying for the COVID shot, it's like, well, sorry, we're helpless now that Mike Johnson is in charge, of the House. Like, we're just a small ooh bean, still control the Senate and the presidency, party. Like, what could we possibly do, to convince him to continue Health and Human Services funding? We have to make a deal with him. We've got to convince him to let us give $20 billion more of arms to Israel. All right? We've got to get those knife missiles over to Ukraine, guys. All right? What, you think we're going to be able to still protect our populace from a pandemic that is just going to exist within our populace from now on? Oh,
well, that's and like honestly, I think that's where most of the Democrats and Republicans are just, and like Republicans especially, but like Democrats, like they just don't care.
Yeah,
they just like no part of them says, well, if you can't afford a vaccine, maybe buy less avocado toast. You know what I'm saying? They think the same shit. But I mean, at the end of the day, too, there's just no real policy. There's no real agenda that they're actually willing to adhere to, except for weapons deals. And that's really, if you look at the past 2 years, they barely passed budgets, but the weapons deals has been the only thing throughout the past 2 years that have been a consistent, thing that's getting, bills that are being passed into law.
That's free money, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta keep that wheel turning,
I gotta let a cat out of the room.
No, hey, listen, I get it. I've been there. Winston, you know what I mean? You get it. People listening right now. Obviously, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to Marcus right now. That'd be weird. Yeah. Cats. I don't know if you all know this. Ownership of cats since the BC times. Oh, hey, Marcus, welcome back. Used to hang out near our grain stores. It's crazy. Acting critters that would go near them. Symbiotic relationship.
We more cat funding. But no, that's in like, I think it's likely what the chambers might flip. Who knows? Democrats have a chance of taking the House and winning back the Senate.
Yeah.
Or no. Yeah, winning back
the House and maybe trying to retain the Senate.
Yeah.
Do you know I saw that they're spending zero in the Allred race right now from the DCCC? Like, that's just free money, man. Like, at least just put pressure on Ted Cruz. Don't, like, listen, we all know that you're not actually going to, like, you know, beat him, but at least put pressure on him and, you know, potentially like local districts in Texas, so that maybe you can energize Democrats in different areas around there at least.
Yeah, which, and that's like, I mean, like, I don't know what the mindset on is, like the Democrats' money and stuff like that. You know, it's like they're talking about like the Harris campaign. I think released $25 million of the 500 million I think they've raised so far. To down ballot, you know, and it's just like I'm not quite sure if the Democratic Party has ever been really serious about like investing in winning, you know. Like
I think they're only invested, like their top investments are Sherrod Brown, who's already got it anyways. Like that's the blueprint for your Midwestern fucking white man in the Democratic Party, all right? Like, just replicate him across Missouri, across... Put a Sherrod Brown in every one of those states, all right?
Yeah. And
and Tester. And Tester's the other one that they're dumping money into because they want to retain that seat.
Yeah, and I mean, it, like, those things, you know, makes a lot of sense, you know, get that, but like the just... understanding that, for one thing too, of that, like, even, you know, like in like Senate races in like Texas or whatever the hell, you know, where those are, Texas is where they should be looking to do what Republicans do in California and New York, where, you know, the
50-state strategy stuff, man, just, you know.
Yeah, like the suburban sprawl out,
Mess with
you
them.
know. Yeah, well, and the thing is too, is like these are gettable races. Yeah, once you start getting into like suburban districts and stuff like that,
get Olivia Giuliana out there to canvas. And, you know,
yeah, Jesus Christ,
get the fresh, youthful face of the new Democratic Party out there knocking people's doors.
Yeah, which, you know, is like, oh my gosh. You know, I can't remember. Like, that's what it's like. There's like that candidate that was running against the Cuellar for the primary.
Jessica Cisneros. Yeah, she's great. People like her.
Well, I mean, that's where like that's where it's just like, there's just so many other people that Democrats could have invested in to actually galvanize not only in like young voters, but just more voters in general, and like they just never gave a shit. And that's where you get the bigger, you know, like it's where Democrats barely lose the House when they give up a few seats out of New York, out of California.
Yes,
if the Democrats just do their jobs, and then they're picking up a few seats out of Texas, out of Florida, then that's when you get major, major majorities for the House, where you're sitting, you know, where, you know, Nancy Pelosi type, you know, majorities where, I mean, and that's where it was like, it sucks shit. We completely ignore any progressives and all that type of shit. Just basically do whatever milquetoast policy you want to do. But no, they just hate winning, I guess. And I mean, the interview, which, you know what I'm saying, that...
My other favorite part of the interview that I really enjoyed, I look forward to your favorites as well, Marcus. I really enjoyed her talking more about this fucking nonsense first-time housing credit, because I took some time and I looked it up, and it's nothing, man. It's actually, okay, are you ready for this means-tested dog shit initiative? $25K, but you have to be a first generation home buyer. So what does that mean? That means, like, obviously nobody in your family before could have purchased a home, right? Or you're first generation, like your parents immigrated here and you're going to like buy into the American economy by getting a house. Then you have to be employed and work a certain amount of, you know, you have to, you're proving that you're working enough hours. You have to prove that you're a good, strong worker and able to get this home. And then you can have $25K. Everybody else, sorry, if it's your first home, we have to believe that you have some sort of intergenerational wealth to get it yourself. All right. So we're only going to give you $10K. Sorry, them's the breaks. hope your family did pretty good in the whole like zip code lottery. Otherwise, I don't know, figure it out, I guess. How much is the down payment again? Oh, $83K to avoid, interest. Okay. Yeah. Well,
that's the thing where it's just
average like, across the United States, $83K. Yeah.
It's like the people making this policy had to pay $1,000 as a down payment for their house. Yes. And they're thinking that $25K is something for people who have to pay $80,000. And like, and this has been going on for years, and a lot of ways COVID, exploded an already shitty housing market into a dire one. The flip flop of work from home, don't work from home, interest rates, where like literally there's no winning here if you're actually trying to sell and then buy a house. Like you're just, or even like, so it's like where it's just trying to buy a house, it's trying to sell and buy a different house.
Yeah.
It all sucks shit. And this $25,000, we're like, oh, hey, would it be nice? And but the thing is too, is like, this is the type of thing where the market responds on a dime. Yeah. For the first person that like gets a pass through on that $25K. Like,
also true. Hey, yeah. Oh, cool. All right. How much? Yeah. How much? Because this is what we're really talking about, right? Like we're talking about a government that can't even. Huh?
Instantly, you're sure they don't have a little bit more,
right? Like we're talking about a government that can't even keep wages with inflation, and you're just like, oh, well, that $25K ever going to change? Because what we're going to look at is going to be, unless you're also going to be interested in price controls, which I fucking know you won't. Are we going to be talking about like that $25K or $10K or whatever it may be changing variably year over year with the rise in housing costs for first-time buyers? Because if not, then this is already a pittance and it's just going to get worse over the next couple of years. All right. Like if you want, like you can't have both. At the end of the day, like this is the problem with the Democratic Party, capitalism in general. Like this idea that housing should be a human right, because that's what Kamala's trying to assert in this, but also saying housing should be a vehicle for building wealth. Well, both of those things can't really be true at the same time, because this market,
for who?
Yeah, this market dictates that those prices will continue ever rising, and you're not giving people a lifesaver to get over to that boat. You're giving, you're tossing them a pool noodle, and you're like, I don't know, swim for it.
Yeah,
figure it out.
Like they're talking about like good things, where just like, oh, we want to build, tens of millions more housing units, which good, that needs to happen.
Yes, absolutely.
But just this amorphous wish where the this government, where they say, hey, we need to build this many units, it's only going to be in the manner of how do you means test programs to give people crumbs and then just give huge subsidies to developers or the supply chain, blah blah blah, whatever, and just
contractors, like the people that are going to be making out on this are not the people that need the homes.
And because the thing is too, where it's just like, for one thing, like make all of these pop-up luxury condos that have been going up, like some things that actually resemble some sort of like walkable cities, make those affordable, right? Just like that's where too is just like rent caps, because a lot of these places do have so many fucking empty units because they're used as real estate holdings, not as housing as many people as can actually fit.
They're used to maintain pricing structures,
Yes. Yeah. And so, and like, or just sit in somebody's portfolio and they really could give two shits whether it makes money on its own or not.
Yeah.
And so these are the types of things where it's just like the housing stock that we have to be able to use, what I'm saying? It has to be accessible is one of those key words there, but like screw these landlords, these huge corporations. And that's one of the big things though. But then like continuing on with that, You know, and it makes you true. There's a lot of these cookie cutter first suburbs, you know, out of like the 50s and 60s that are just like, we're going to have to do something with these places that are essentially like falling apart, you know, like neighborhood by neighborhood, you know, and that's like not in this like gentrification type of thing. But
we're building the new ones that are going to be falling apart, Marcus. All right. Have you listen, you haven't legged it out to Texas recently, but man, the past like 10, 15 years, the amount of out in the middle of fucking nowhere, you know, Larson, Texas, built around like 3 retaining ponds, you know, beautiful view though. Incredible.
Yeah, well, you know, that's it's just it's bad. It's all bad. But no, those are the things that like they're not doing that they should be doing. That's like that we need. You know, these things are getting worse and worse and worse. And yeah, you know, like the longer they take, the more climate change is just coming through and going to be wrecking shit community by community in, you know, these horrific climate events. You know, we're gonna have to figure something out sooner than later, you know.
No. Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. And it makes me think about like the Chinese model where it's just like, oh yeah, homeless people. No. We just continue to build houses, and you know, there is no means testing. People just get homes. You know, like that's it. That's the idea. People have homes, then they can, you know, be workers. Isn't that right?
I mean, yeah, and like the idea of like you know, 70 and 80 year leasings on, you know, housing of like, not you are like, oh, this is my house, is my land. And we're just like, no, it's not. It's never, ever that, you know? So like, you know, having people just say like, okay, where's like the legal guarantee that, you know, I have a place not only to live, but like a place to die, you know, and it's like kind of morbid, but that's what's real, you know. Like I want a place to live until I die. You know, that's the thing that society needs to guarantee, and that way people know, like, you know, that's just it can do that for everyone. Guess what? No homeless. Boom.
Crazy.
You just got someone that just got hammered and just fell asleep on the bench.
Yeah.
And you don't maybe need to like have a cop police him away. Just get like, hey dog, where do you stay at? Let me help you home. You know,
like
let
me drop you off. Like in Back to the Future. And they pick up Marty's girlfriend. They're like, well, let's just drop you off at your house instead. Incredible. That's the
I know you got a house somewhere. Yeah. Oh my God. But no, we're real ass backwards. Democrats aren't going to do much. And so it's hard to stick with this damn interview. It was just so terrible.
What was your favorite part of the interview, Marcus? What did you like?
I think my favorite part was the saying that she would put a Republican on her in her cabinet.
Incredible.
Because that is just one of that's Veep status.
Yeah.
Dipshittery. Yeah. You know, that's just
so good. I gotta go back and watch Veep, honestly.
I need to sound bipartisan and reach across the aisle. So yeah, I think the dozen people that I keep closest to my administration, one of them could be just from the opposition party. Yeah. I think, sure, why not?
Yeah. Somebody in my chat said this, and so I don't want to steal it from him, but could you imagine like Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, yeah, no, I think a Democrat should be in my cabinet. You know, I think a Democrat should be one of my aides. They would primary her so fucking fast her head would spin. Like, what are you talking about?
They did ask JD Vance the same thing of like, hey, do you think Trump would put a Democrat in his cabinet? He like laughed and then said no. Like, he goes, that's the right answer.
That's the right answer. Yeah.
That's the right answer.
Why do you hate power? Oh yeah, I would share it with the people that want to steal it from me. Well, then what's wrong with you?
Do you disagree with them?
Yeah,
and it goes on she goes on and, oh, you just need to have some people you just disagree with. Not in your cabinet.
Yeah, you have people you disagree. Put Joe Manchin in your cabinet, then, idiot. Like, you have people in the Democratic Party you disagree with, ostensibly. Okay,
and that's like, and this is where the thing is too. Is
Debbie
like,
Wasserman Schultz in your fucking cabinet.
Oh my fucking god, Lucid, you shut the hell up, all right? Because now you're wish casting some demon shit that's gonna end up coming through. Like there's. She's so awful.
She's such a fucking demonic force. It's crazy.
But no, the thing that's the problem is when it comes to the Republican Party and the diversity of issues, they completely will never, ever accept anything about the Democrats. It's always about the varying degrees of monster, right? Yes. You've got light conservative like Susan Collins, and then you've got fascists, you know, like Josh Hawley, you know.
I just had an idea. I'm going to keep going.
The Mitch McConnell to MTG, like all of those types of things, you know, that's where their diversity comes in. And when it comes to the Democrats, their diversity comes from, you know, Nancy Pelosi to Susan Collins and Murkowski. You know, they're happy to have those on that edge, but someone like Pramila Jayapal just gets used to try and shepherd through Build Back Better, and then gets told to eat shit on any of the real policy that the progressives were put on.
Yeah.
This is where, like, AOC, baby girl, you could keep fucking, you know, trying, but like, and that's where the thing is too. It's either
incredible. She's just trying job security, baby.
I mean, that's like, you don't got to do all that. That's where too, it's just like, it's either you completely buy into the establishment form. And this is where, you know, Nancy Pelosi, while coming in as like a donor, you know, bundler and all this type of shit, when she starts her political career, she comes in talking about Medicare for all, educate, like huge funding increases in education. You know what I'm saying? Like if Nancy Pelosi was running her first campaign right now, most Bernie bros would be on with her. You know what I'm saying? They'd be totally about what she's saying.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying like, oh, AOC was planning this the whole time and all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, she's taken, you know, the easier path on everything. And it's just like, that's just the politics of the day. It's going to be easier to move. And really, it's like
she is a savvy politician, but she is a politician. You know, she is involved in bourgeois electoralism. You know, like she is a person that understands the system, understands how to work it, and is doing what she can to assume power. Was the Biden thing stupid? Yeah, but it was also a very naked look at just how she attempts to wield and, you know, position power. You know, she was aligning herself with a party apparatus that she wants to spend a good long time in. She's looking past the election of 2024 and thinking about her position in the party moving forward. You know,
so she's unburdened by what has been.
That's right. Absolutely. Also, I figured out the Republican. Now, Marcus, you're going to be mad at me, but I figured it out. Maybe I'm not giving Kamala this much credit, but maybe she was saying she wants a Republican in her party because she's going to take Susan Collins, put Susan Collins in her cabinet. Then you get Mills to appoint a Democratic senator. Boom.
Boom.
You've got the Senate majority again, even when John Tester loses.
Oh, wow. Kamala triangulation.
Yeah, Kamala triangulation, baby. All right?
Amazing.
Trust me.
God, she's so great.
She was thinking about it the whole time. All right.
God, brilliant.
I know.
Yeah. I hate this. It's probably going to happen too. Yeah, they're like that.
Tim Walz is casting the tiebreaker vote.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's okay. And I guess too, it's like where like them doing that interview. For one thing, like, I'm not sure, and maybe with that whole like, oh hey, she'll have a Republican in her cabinet or whatever. Yeah. You know, I don't know what the issue is with having her do more interviews. You know, like, or
because these are Biden, because she still has a bunch of Biden people in her campaign.
And
they just focused on no interviews.
It's weird. It's just it's just because the people keep talking about it. You know, so like, what just. just do the interview, because the more interviews you do, the more normal it is. You have a candidate that's not going to fall asleep. But like, do they trust, and this, like, do they trust her to not say weird things like I'll have a Republican in my cabinet, Like I don't know, like I don't know what is so worrying, but at the end of the day, I thought it was like, okay, why do they have to do this together? Tim Walz barely said shit. He's had a comment in the beginning. They went almost the entire interview,
and they asked him about IUI and shit. And then those questions, the Tim Walz questions, were some of the worst, bad, in bad. I mean, it's just settling things for nobody. It's just like, hey, how do you feel about these Republican smears? Well, that's just puffing him up, right? It's like, oh, well, I think they're silly. It's like, well, yeah, they are, like, and they don't matter to anybody except for, QAnon fan 723 that was going to vote for Trump. Anyways, like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I did. One time I lied and said I got Kraft mac and cheese. I lied. It was store brand. Like, nobody gives a shit. All right. Like,
because they literally like spice investigation of like, oh, Tim Walz said he didn't put any spice and salt, more than salt and pepper. He won a recipe contest where there was a pinch of cayenne in there.
He used a 1.5 teaspoon of oregano. Right?
Dun, dun, dun.
You ever had that on your tongue before? The melody of flavor.
My great grandparent died from too much oregano spice. But yeah, it's just a wild thing. But like, I don't know. Dana Bash sucks.
Yeah, Dana Bash is a shitty interviewer as well.
And that's what, like the whole, oh, hey, what do you think of the Israel conflict? Well, to support Israel, the right to defend the ball, and I'm sure not a lot of people, read the, Kamala Harris's statement after what happened recently in Israel with the hostages.
Oh, I did, yeah.
But
are you talking about the one on Twitter? Because Marcus, she doesn't write the things on Twitter, okay? That's her aides that write it for her. So actually, technically, she probably feels this exact way.
The official, because it was like the official statement out of the office of the vice president, and like literally, so like now is there this interesting thing where on a lot of things, Joe Biden does a statement and Kamala Harris does a statement. A lot of like most times that doesn't happen, but let's see, with this lame duck scenario, and she's like trying to be presidential.
Yeah, she's trying to puff her out.
But infinitely more bloodthirsty than Joe Biden's statement, and just talking about like getting revenge. Yeah, and like it's so. It not only is like, oh, it's going from it's disappointing that she's not saying X, Y, and Z, or, it's disappointing that she's avoiding this, that, or the other, to she might not be, there might not be any change, at all.
Marcus,
maybe the most lethal military in the world gets involved.
Marcus, I hear what you're saying, but also Yashar Ali told me that her national security advisor is going to be Phil Gordon, all right? And he is more moderate when it comes to Palestine and Israel. Now, I mean, please don't look into the fact that he has been a Joe Biden aide and also NSC for Barack Obama, who literally just put in there because he was like, he does good bureaucratic paperwork. Not for his familiarity with the region, just like, he does. His forms are submitted on time.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I see so many things, across like liberal media. They're like, well, there's some signals that she might be different. I'm like, brother, again, there's Adam from Citations Needed. Adam Johnson does some very easy math here. Are there still kids dying in Palestine right now? The answer is yes. Are we still sending weapons? Yes, we are killing those kids. All right, that's it. That's the only. As long as those things continue to be true tomorrow and the next day, the next week. All right, man. I don't care what's in her heart. I don't care what she's fucking said to groups of people until we have ceased doing that. They have a temporary ceasefire right now in Israel because the conditions are so fucking poor that the World Health Organization has to come in and inoculate children against fucking polio. All right? Like, until that is a situation amenable for human life again, I'm sorry, man, but no vested interest in what her better fucking angels think.
I don't even like you're just relegating the people in Palestine in between now and election day to death.
Yes,
right? Like
100%.
whoever, it's a discussion of whoever survives the end of Genocide Joe gets to see if Holocaust Harris is there or not.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's not a framework that we should be, kind of like discussing or like really dealing with this issue of, because it's really not about who Kamala Harris is going to put in her cabinet. The question is, how do you put pressure on a genocide supporting government to stop supporting genocide?
Correct.
That is like everything that is, attacking and putting on pressure and protesting the campaign. It is all in service of stopping the genocide that's happening right now. And that's where it's like, we really just can't do that of, well, come on, Kamala is going to be better. Okay. Well, that's,
what does that mean?
January 20th.
Right. I'm sorry, man, but we're talking 11 months in. You're telling me another half a year before there might even be movement on people that are already suffering the most acute starvation we've seen the world over. Like, that's, I
don't, we like, it's just, and that's the one of the problems, or like one of these like cultural things. It's like really, it's hard to get out of this mindset, because like this is our, political culture in the United States. When I say that, it's just like, how do we have an understanding of what is politics, and how do we have, how do Americans understand, how do we affect change in our world? Mm-hmm. And the thing is, we're drunk on options of ranch dressing, and being number one in the world, and the foosball. We are drunk on being number one, that we have zero understanding on actually how to make our world better on the large scale, and all gets synthesized into the vote and the electoral politics, and even the people who, in large state, like progressive, like people who like want material conditions, and even know the word, that term, they'll say material conditions, but it all gets wrapped right back into, well, what's the polling data after they said this one sentence, and not, did that one sentence stop the bombing of children? Like, because that's the thing that we need.
Marcus, if you look at my carefully constructed photograph in which I've created the trolley problem, okay, and on one track is Kamala Harris and just the Palestinian people, but on the other track is Trump with the Palestinian people and also trans people and also the black community, then I think you'll understand a little better about what we're facing in November, all right?
And I'm going to tell you, if I see one more freaking version of that damn trolley problem meme, I am going to recreate an in real life version of the trolley problem with myself, okay?
I will become the Joker. And
it's like, okay,
God,
I'm going to fucking go to
again,
and I'll show you a trolley problem.
But this is, so this is a logical extension. When we talk about like our choices are different kinds of ranch dressing, like for a lot of people, these are still hypotheticals, man. And that's, I think, the most monstrous thing to me, 11 months in, I've seen so many pictures, so many videos of just like the suffering of fucking people of all ages. And for so many people, like these people suffering is relegated to a couple of imaginary characters that they've drawn on a fucking trolley line, instead of actually understanding the gravity, the weight that should have on your soul. You're just like, well, what about us? It's like, what about us, man? What about the families that have been fucking incinerated?
I mean, it's
talking about.
it's an unnecessary juxtaposition.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just unnecessary. It's nonsensical. The idea that like, oh, well, I'm voting for this person and that's just like, you have like some understanding where it's like, no, well, I need to protect these groups of people. And so I'm just going to vote for that person. And that's just what has to happen. So I'm just going to go about my life as if nothing really matters, because this one decision I'm going to make over 10 minutes in November.
That's it. That's
the only decision that I have, you know? And it's just like, we're going to just end up allowing a government to fund and arm a genocide, which and the thing is like where it's just like it is cascades of evil and destruction, because you have this genocidal regime in Netanyahu, which if you see some of these parts of like even the fucking press briefing that he did yesterday, like, I mean,
you mean the one in front of the map where West Bank doesn't fucking exist? You mean that shit?
It's like, it is, yeah. So that, and then like what has happened in Palestine, like you said, it's like the untold horror, right? Because the videos that we see is a fraction.
Yeah, it's just a glimpse inside of the window.
Like and then it just expanding out to this genocide, that's the military expenditure, the war in Ukraine as well, the displacement in Sudan. These are things that are absolutely destroying infrastructure and exploding climate crisis.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and people, migrant issues and stuff like that. When we are creating huge, insane migrant crisis on just because you can't stop doing war. And the way that like, oh, hey, we've got these goals that we're supposed to be meeting. And then a few years of dropping bombs and, well, sorry, all that progress has gone away.
The infrastructure, the IRA, Marcus, is important. The infrastructure bills and those are going to decrease climate crisis by a percentage. And please don't look at all of the other, like, externalities that are like fucking, precise imperialism, like causes around the world. Please don't look at those other things. Just think about domestically. We're not doing that bad.
We can't ban fracking. We got to win Pennsylvania. Like, that's like literally like that right there.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. I talked on that for quite some time. As if
even that point, right, of like we synthesize everything into this electoral politics, and it is destroying us, right? Is just right there in the, can you say rhetorically, even though none of these politicians do a damn thing that they promise ever, but you can't even promise that you're going to ban a thing that we need to ban to be able to survive on this planet. You can't even say it. Because you need to win
less than 20,000 people working this job out of 6 million workers in Pennsylvania, and you're just like, no, that sector's got to exist. Like,
swing state.
What are you doing?
It's a swing state.
Again, I said it reminds me of when Al Gore, they'd shut him up when he was talking about climate change stuff. They're like, whoa, it doesn't poll well, like. For her, it's just like, oh, I mean, don't talk about that frack. You don't want to piss off the fracking voters that are probably fucking voting for Trump anyways, man.
Oh my God.
All right, the guys working the fracking rigs are not big old fucking like bleeding heart lefties.
And
all right,
the thing is too, it's like even if they, whether they want to vote for Trump or not, right, having a policy. Actually
believing in something.
Having a policy that actually also serves a just transition for workers in these industries, whether it's an early retirement for people on the back end of their work history, or job training and rehousing, right, type of like ability so they can like move, school, grant, like whatever the hell you got to do to say we will help you through it, whether they're going to vote for Trump or not. That's the shit that needs to be done. This is just what we have to do if there's going to be a livable planet. And like, I hate that like I keep telling myself it to convince it, and like that's where it's like no one's like believing this shit, but it's like look up, you know what I'm saying? Like we got to look up, you know, or the aliens, whatever, you know, the aliens get us.
Jay Posadas, okay, I'm listening, I'm hearing. Yeah, I just that part just completely floored me too. I'm like, what are you know? And again, like they go back to, you know, which Dana Bash was like, well, in 2019 you said you wanted to ban fracking, and it's like, yeah, man, because politicians just say shit. All right, like just say it again. Are you that scared? Because it just shows a point of fear now, where you're like, whoa, I don't want to sound too crazy here.
Yeah, I
don't want to lose too many of those Nikki Haley voters.
Oh my God! But that's literally who they're going for, you know.
Yeah.
Like the Republicans for Kamala. That's the track that they're really kind of trying to go down. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's where, yeah, and like, so I don't know, man. This
system needs some change.
Yeah,
and that's why.
Yeah.
That's why Trump needs to ditch JD Vance, all right? No reason to pick him in the first place, but I'm going to get him out of here. Ballots are issued in 4 days. You got the perfect amount of time to pick up, that's right, RFK Jr., okay? Now, this is a uniting ticket, all right? Like this.
Well, that's what... They would probably try anything that they could to get RFK off of the ballot in some of these swing states, but it's going to be pretty tough. Pretty tough.
It is. He's suing North Carolina right now after I think Cuban sued to get him on. It's incredible.
Take me off the ballot now.
I have to help my big strong boy. He promised me a cabinet position. Yeah, how am I going to feed my falcon if I can't fucking have a cabinet position for Donald Trump?
Holy shit. Yeah.
I will say the most like a guy that literally believes in nothing, you know, and you could say when RFK Jr. was younger, maybe had some higher aspirations with regards to the environment, you know, but again, like this is, you know, a lot of folks kind of like mystified by the look at him, but this is fail sons, man. This is what they look like. Right? Him and Hunter, we've gotten an in-depth look on, but like this is all of them. Okay.
Just the through line, right? It's just different, you know, different versions of eccentricity revolving around someone who will never be remorseful for their sexual assault and rape.
He's never, but yes, because all of that drills down to the base of that character. Like these people have never had consequences, so they've never had to learn anything about morality. So all of those things are in shades of gray. All right. So everything that he does, he is the hero of his own story, much like a lot of people believe they are. But he has also had infinite money to work in those spaces. Right. So he can do whatever he wants without consequence. And out of that, like he fucking rides around with his fucking falcon and picks up a bear and dumps it in Central Park, right? Like this is a funny story, but it also is very indicative of how so many like fucking children of privilege just kind of navigate our world every day. All right. He is not special comparing him to other fucking fail sons. They're just as crazy and fucked up as he is.
I mean, Trump is one.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, absolutely.
But
I mean, look
also,
at
like,
look at Ludacris. He was in the Arctic like last week, right? He'll have a brain in his worm soon enough. You know, like I'll drink that shit. Yeah. No, but I mean, this is what wealth conditions. You know, this is what it creates. Realistically, all these fucking like people are always insane. Elon Musk has been driven insane. He is not a person that believes in anything. He is a person that believed in his own story that he told people. He believed in the power of his wealth. And then when he was rebuffed just once, you know, he said,
toss him in the gulag.
Yeah. Just Grimes just, you know, told him no once. And then all of a sudden he's on a fucking anime villain arc.
Has a trans child.
Yeah.
And is talking about all meat diet with some lunatic and saying that's why he bought Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, like it's.
Yeah, man. Like this is the story of wealth at the end of the day. You know, this is why our RFK Jr. comes from a machine family, you know, that does anything they can to retain that status and wealth. That's why they're telling these stories about him.
I don't want to. I mean, there's definitely not anything to do with like DEI. However, you know, this is where they're branching out a little bit.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard.
He's fun too, you know. She's a different power sect. She comes from cults, you know, which is also a lot of wealth concentrated in certain areas.
Dominance.
Yeah. Like she is.
Well, no. But that's where, the Trump campaign is. They got RFK, they got Tulsi coming in. Where, and I don't know if the Republicans, I mean, obviously they don't hear themselves, but the idea that it's oh, look at these Democrats that are crossing over, and it's just okay, but that's not, and especially it's on the opposite end of these, some Nikki Haley, some these Liz Cheney Republicans that exist out there, and this is just a shit show that's going to continue. I think Trump is going to continue probably to spiral until he ends up saying the N-word on Joe Rogan's podcast 3 days before the election, and that's actually a thing that allows him to win for some. It's because of the racism. Actually, it's because of the racism. But that's. I'm not too excited for the next few months of just the campaign actually intensifying.
Good Lord, we're about down 2 months after tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, TikTok, and that's where after Labor Day is always when ads start spending. It's you're not going to be able to see another Tide Pod commercial until Thanksgiving. So. It's, I don't know. It's, this place is just, where it's what we just talked about throughout this episode.
Yeah.
Right. How is it that this is the preemptive power?
This is the best we can do.
Right. I know, all of our enemies are obviously tentatively listening to this leftist propaganda we're producing, and for real, hey, out there, different countries, we're lunatics in here. You can't trust us. We're not helping.
Yeah, we had to confiscate a fucking foreign president's plane. All right, to be spiteful, not to even do anything.
It's it looks like a tiny ass plane. And they're I'm that's the plane. That's the plane.
He bought it wrong. We're taking it.
Yeah, you think you can't get another plane?
Man,
what's going on? Right?
Yeah,
we're not serious.
We are not a serious country, man. It is, whatever conception that is. Again, it is like when you were a kid and you thought your parents had it all together, and then you grow up and you're like, holy shit, this is held together by glue and fucking, popsicle sticks. Nobody nobody knows what's going on. Oh God.
Yeah.
It's just 3 lobbyists in a trench coat. This government doesn't make any sense, man.
Big pharma, the military industry, and the energy sector just in a trench coat with it's a gun holding to everybody. As long as we keep holding all our balance together, they're not going to figure it out, but please figure it out.
Yeah, please figure it out. What's your silver lining, Marcus? You got, after all, listen, it's been a tough hour, but you got something that you're looking forward to. Was it the Ohio State win? Is that?
Which I am happy that they did beat Akron, a little AK Rowdy in-state rivalry. Yeah. Take that. So it was nice. It was good. It was fun. But I did actually held back a sentence just so that this is my silver lining.
Okay.
Because I am excited to just find and see the really ridiculous ads that are inevitably going to come out at some of these House Republican races and shit that.
Did you see the all red ad?
No,
It's
I don't.
incredible. You all read ad about Ted Cruz about how he hates fucking football.
Oh, wow.
It's so cool. It's so cool, man. Yeah, that might play in Texas. Let's go.
Let's do it. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, I agree.
Hell yeah. The Tim Ryan approach.
Yes. Listen, hey, this is the best time for ads, though. I don't disagree with you. It is extremely funny to see some of this shit. Where else would we get the fucking goddamn Brian Kemp, where he's like, taking my truck down to the border to round up elites.
Oh my God.
Where else would we get that shit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the one like MTG shooting a 50 cal sniper rifle at a damn fucking like Toyota.
And Ted Cruz cooking the bacon with the 50 cal.
Machine gun bacon. Yeah. Holy shit.
Man, it is a time.
What about you?
Well, listen, I'm going to come up to the silver lining, but I've got to take a little valley and then a peak.
Detour.
All right.
Okay.
The bad news is I did see Tim Walz at the State Fair, but before he got there, the State Fair is the silver lining. Before he got there, he went to one of my favorites, living here in the South, Cookout. Delightful. You should, dear listener, you should go to Cookout. It is an incredible place of whimsy that has never been affected by inflation. Okay. You can get a burger with 2 sides. It's like less than $10. And those sides can be anything. You get a burger with 2 sides of quesadilla. You can get a quesadilla with 2 sides of quesadilla. A burger with 2 corn dogs, whatever you like.
It's like the Costco of fast food.
It's so good. But he went there and he got a shake, Marcus. This fucking man got a mint chocolate chip shake. Disgusting.
What is he, a fucking dentist?
There's so many choices. You could have Reese's Pieces. You could have anything. You could have the seasonal watermelon shake. It's delightful.
That's the thing, though, is that like that is a very old white man.
It is a very old white man choice. I hate it.
Yeah.
But then wrap around. The next video I saw, he was at the State Fair eating a pork chop on a stick, so he's exonerated. But
as long as he doesn't look like Mayor Pete when
So yeah, just Tim Walz enjoying fair food really reminded me that it is fair food season, and I got to get out there. I got to eat some butter on a stick or whatever the fuck they got cooking.
Yeah.
But long corn dog, I don't know, something that'll fuck up my guts.
Yeah. This is America.
Yeah, this is America. That's the one defining character. Like, did you see that? The last thing that I'll bring up. Did you see the Kamala Harris tweet where it's like, what could possibly be in this box? Of her like looking at some food stuff, like very very shocked and in awe of something in the box, as if like Europeans or somebody trying to clown us. And it's like, buddy. All right. Have you seen the fucking level of unhealth that we have in this country? There's all sorts of anything could be in that box. We make the best, worst shit imaginable. All right, brother. I've got a pack of Maruchan Funyuns in my pantry. They are Funyuns that taste like hot and spicy chicken. All right. We do anything here.
We love sugar so much. We turn our vegetables into sugar. You don't just come around because and that's the thing where it's just like, what it was.
Yeah.
It was some double fudge, Dutch chocolate, brownie, sundae with
chocolate lava
ice
volcano,
cream, cheesecake. Yeah. It was just the most just powdered sugar waffle cone shit you'd ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredible.
There's where it's like you take a bite of some shit here in the States.
Yeah.
Right? Like some of these donut shops, they need to relax. You know what I'm saying? Some of these small mom and pop like cookie places that just popped up, y'all need to relax with this.
It's
because take a bite and it's like literally you could feel your teeth shaking, easy, you're breaking the foundation here.
Listen,
it's crazy.
I just need, before we go, Mark, I just need to see, you don't have to tell me, you don't have to reply. I just want to see the look on your face. Please tell me how this photograph makes you feel. Okay?
Oh, wow.
How? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
that,
wow.
That,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, that is our country, okay?
Get rid of that fucking candy cane. No.
That is... anyone obviously can't see this picture. We'll put it in post. That is their... Okay, so there's this place called Coco and Hazel in Richmond. They do indulgence based food, and that is a hot chocolate with a wrapping around the rim of chocolate and candy cane crunchies. And then on top, it is a half slice of chocolate cake with a candy cane and candy cane ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay? You come and tell me that we don't know how to do, we don't know how to do food good, but you're going to tell me we don't make shit that people will just completely pass out from a sugar coma? Come on, man.
I mean, who doesn't like a nice hot cup of cocoa with a side of chocolate cake and ice cream, right?
Yeah, man.
You wash it down with some
Come
nice.
on. What could be in that
icing.
box? There is an untold amount of things that could be in that box.
God.
All right, it could just be nachos, and then that'd be fine. I'd be taking it back. You give me some crazy looking nachos.
Oh man, I could go for some nachos.
You know what I mean? Some pulled pork on top and shit.
Yeah, yeah, jalapenos.
Yeah, charred jalapenos.
Yeah,
Delightful. All right, we can't keep just talking about food for hours. We can.
Sour cream.
Oh man, hell yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah.
Back next week. Better every week.
Better every week.
Hit the bells. Do all the things. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Peace.